Hello and welcome to Spotlight ETSU. Today we welcome Dr. Stephen Marshall, Chair of the Department of Mass Communications here at ETSU, who will talk about the upcoming renovations to the DP Culp building and about the new Student Media Center. Stay with us, we're turning on the spotlight. Hey, welcome back and thanks for joining us. Today I have with me now Dr. Stephen Marshall. He's chair of the newly formed or newly reorganized Department of Mass Communication. Dr. Marshall here is going to talk to us about the upcoming, hopefully, media center for the students and for the Culp renovations. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, great to be here, and this is my first time on the program, so thanks.
Well, it's our first show, so hopefully you don't screw it up too bad. So first off, I just wanted to ask you, tell us a little bit about yourself. Now, you mentioned you lived in Florida, or you're from Florida.
Yep.
Did you study there as well?
I did. I studied at the University of Florida, and I did an undergraduate at the University of Florida, and I worked for WUFT-FM while I was at the University of Florida. It's a Classic 89. It's an NPR affiliated station. It's the biggest boomer in Florida. And then I moved to working for a small production shop that was doing a lot of audio production. I ran an audio studio. I say I ran an audio studio. The main focus of this place was really messages on hold. So yeah, it sounds really crazy, but if you rewind to 1996 or 1997, there was a lot of play in that area, and so we'd have voice talents come in, we'd script out and voice probably 30 scripts a day for different, and then the whole afternoon I would spend mixing productions. They were about 2 and 3 minutes long, and then we'd ship them out. And so that was great, but I was kind of looking to make more money and not live with 3 people at the same time. And
it's always a good thing, right?
But it was a really great gig because it taught me how to troubleshoot a lot of computer issues. You think about digital recording, we take a lot of it for granted right now, but it was really in its infancy at that time. Pro Tools and those kinds of things were just starting.
Sure.
So when I went to a job fair, I ended up hooking up with Nielsen and worked for Nielsen, TV ratings company for 4 years. Okay. And I got really into what my clients were doing with data.
Now, what did you do for them?
I worked for advertising and public relations companies.
Okay.
And then
hence the data aspect.
That's right. Okay. Yeah, that's right. And I never really knew that I would like I never thought of myself as an audience research person. Okay. And I really got into the position as a network systems person. So first I flew around the country. I was on the road about every 3 or 4 weeks for the entire week, and I was servicing computer systems and cable head-ends. And so rolling out a brand new digital product for Nielsen and for audience measurement. And I enjoyed it, but if you travel for a week, a month at least, you know, for a year and a half, that it gets kind of old.
Yeah, it gets tired.
And I was getting into really wanting to do more with the data. And so I moved up into a marketing position. I was working with advertising and public relations firms. And then my last gig there before I left was with Spanish language sample. And so I worked with Univision, Telemundo, ESPN Deportes.
Cool.
And
what did you do for them?
I serviced their clients. And so I pitched data. Because Nielsen is a syndicated data research company, and so we sold data. Okay. And so I would have clients in Chicago, New York City, and I would go from Florida up there, and pitch them on why they should buy Nielsen Spanish language data. Okay. And so I got really into like what my clients were doing with data. And thought, you know what, I'm going to go back to graduate school. I'm going to reposition myself as a researcher, and I want to work for a network, or I want to work for a firm that is doing audience research, and I want to be the director of research for them. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, what did you study? What were your degrees that led you to qualifications?
Well, I'm a telecom production, RTVF person for an undergrad. And then in my master's and my PhD at Florida, I studied mainly research method. So my master's is in mass communication, and my PhD is also in mass communication. But I really focused on quantitative and qualitative measurement, and then also marketing.
Okay, so this specifically geared you right in that direction.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I went back for, you know, and really I had no idea that I was going to do a PhD, and I was doing my master's, and I had some folks there that said, hey, you know, have you ever thought about doing a PhD? We can put you right in a classroom right now, we can give you a full ride, and I thought, why not try this, you know, and if I don't like it, you know, I'm like, I'm not worthy, I'm not, you know, I'm not that smart, but I thought, I'll try it for a year and see how I like it, and you know, you fast forward to now, and I liked it. I finished at the University of Florida. I took a job here in 2006. There was a position in the Department of Communication that was a vacancy, and I've been here ever since, and I love ETSU.
Very cool, very cool. It's a great place to be, in my opinion. I've always loved being here. So next up, let me ask you this. About the Student Media Center. Now, you mentioned it's still a really gray area, really new, nothing set in stone. I imagine the name's probably the only thing that's on paper at this point. What can you tell us about that, though?
Yeah, and I can say that the name is actually not even really on paper either.
No, well, there you go.
You know, because we want this thing to be a living, vibrant space for students. Okay, so the whole idea behind this was the Culp is doing a $40+ million renovation. You know, bringing in lots of new food choices, bringing in lots of new common space for students, and really taking the Culp Center back, I would say, in a way. If you look at the percentage, and I'm not really remembering exactly what the percentage is, but the percentage, there's a lot of administrative offices that are in the Culp Student Center. And those need to get out. You know, it's y'all's student center. And so what we're really focused on with the renovation is to those food choices, the new space, common space. But what I talked to them about last year was I said, you know, it'd be really great if we had kind of a center hub of media that really students, first of all, you know, you have the East Tennessean that's in the Culp Center, and it's just, like I like to reference, it's kind of in a closet, you know.
It's back there and forgotten about, kind of.
It's, you know, the door is on the outside. Nobody knows where it is. Nobody ever sees anybody working in that space. It's under student affairs, you know, it's not in our department, but a lot of our students will be there, you know. And so I said, wouldn't it be great if we could have the East Tennessean in the space, you know, that where students can see other students. We've got a really great, amazing radio operation, you know, that again, it's in Wharf Pickle. And anytime I bring students down here for Wharf Pickle to show them the space, they're like, or faculty, or I bring athletics, you know, for recruits and stuff, and they come in here and they go, wow, I had no idea this was here.
Yeah, it's a hidden little gem, nobody knows about it.
That's right, you know, and so really, it's and this space it will not change this space at all. You know, this is a teaching space for mass communication. But what it does is it's what we're envisioning here for the Media Center is kind of a fishbowl kind of approach to where students will see other students working television, you know, doing news or putting together packages of some sort, editing video. They'll see the radio station, and they'll see people on the air working the radio station, but also interviews and different things that will happen there. And then also a production space. And so a production space in the sense of some kind of media production agency that is, again, this is all student-driven media. You know, it's the voice of ETSU.
So we can't, I mean, realistically speaking, I wouldn't think that you could just take the Buck TV studio and move it to the Culp. I mean, that's not what you're looking to do.
No.
But you mentioned production aspects there. So what would you hope to see there in terms of production aspects? Do you want to see the radio station there? Or just edit bays?
Yeah, I think that's a non-negotiable. We definitely want to have a radio presence there. There's a discussion in terms of the television aspect. You know, the East Tennessean is moving into more of a multimedia format. You have great stuff, great programs that are coming out of our department as well. That's content that could be more public facing if we could get some kind of a community partner, which I'm working on in terms of a university channel. And that's a whole nother discussion.
How would that differ from a Buck TV channel?
It would be a community partner in the Tri-Cities.
Oh, really? Okay,
and it would be an over-the-air channel.
Okay.
Yeah, so it would be an affiliate or a sister, a sibling of what we do with Buck TV.
Sure. Okay.
And again, this is all. There's a lot of. As I was telling somebody yesterday, this is. We have a tree and we have like a little berry that's come out, but we don't know if it's going to be an orange or an apple, you know.
Right.
And we have right now folks from art and design on our committee. We have, of course, mass communication folks, and then we have also digital media folks that are in a steering committee going, what is this space? You know, one thing that we do know is it's somewhere between $1 million and $1.5 million is what we've folks from our team put together in terms of what the space needs to be and how it needs to be outfitted and what kind of costs we would be looking at.
And I'm assuming, I don't know if this is correct or not, so correct me if I'm wrong, but I assume that there's a chance this may not even happen? No. Okay, so this is for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I would say the chance of it not happening would be very minuscule.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, it's already approved, yeah. I mean, this is all approved under the new renovations for the Culp Center.
Yeah, see, that's how little I think it's been kind of getting around.
Yeah.
And what has been getting around hasn't exactly been the most accurate of information.
I agree.
But yeah, I mean, again, I was under the impression that this wasn't even something that had the stamp of, you know, we're doing it.
Oh, it's stamped and we're doing it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's all part of the effort, I guess, to get the Culp more student-friendly?
That's right.
Yeah. Because you say that, and that actually kind of surprised me, because I don't think I've ever thought of the Culp as a student center. So that'd be really nice to see. Yeah, it'd be really nice to see it move in that kind of direction.
Yep.
Most students come from, well, maybe not most, but I know a lot of students that come from other universities. They ask, well, you know, where's your student civic center, or whatever other names they have for your student body center? And I'm just like, well, I don't think we have one. I guess the Culp, maybe, perhaps.
That's what it's supposed to be.
But, okay. Yeah. So that sounds really really
and
positive.
if you think about it, I mean, you think about the new art center and some of the other major building things that are going on campus. I mean, you're talking about a $40+ million renovation to a building that's already there. They're not knocking that building down. They're putting that money into. It's going to be killer.
All right.
I mean, it's going to be great.
Very cool. Well, thank you, Dr. Marshall, for being with us here today. That seems to be all the time we have. Thank you again for joining us. We will see you right back here on Spotlight ETSU next time, where we'll have Joe Smith, Director of University Relations, and Public Safety Chief Jack Cottrell. Remember, you can only find us here on Buck TV. Goodbye.